And up first, big developments in Benghazi. Today, Speaker of the House John Boehner announcing the House will form a select committee to investigate the Benghazi attack. Also, the Oversight Committee announcing it will subpoena Secretary of State John Kerry. Representative Trey Gowdy joins us. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you?
Good. What do you think about this select committee?
I'm glad the Speaker did it. I had called for it several months ago, despite the fact that I'm on one of the committees of jurisdiction. I just think 20 months is too long to get answers to questions. And I think with the Ben Rhodes memo, that was a straw that broke the camel's back with respect to the Speaker. So not only are we trying to get questions with respect to Benghazi, we're also now investigating what appears to be a White House cover-up, and one of the worst explanations for why they didn't turn the document over is I think the Speaker just finally lost his patience. I'm glad he did what he did.
What difference does it make if it's a select committee? I mean, how does this make a big difference in the investigation?
Well, instead of having the Department of Defense with armed services, I mean, we were so pigeonholed or fragmented. You know, Foreign Affairs has jurisdiction over the State Department. Armed Services has jurisdiction over the Department of Defense. Oversight kind of fills in the gaps. You just need one committee that can send subpoenas. If you want to have Greg Hicks and the station chief from Tripoli and Hillary Clinton all sitting at the same table, you need a committee that has the power to do that. And a select committee would have the power. It crosses all jurisdictional boundaries. You have subpoena power. And you can work in a really coordinated effort. And, you know, I think our chairmen have done the best job they can do, but you have a tendency to kind of stick within your own bailiwick, and we need somebody to cross those lines. We need those lines to disappear, frankly.
All right, Secretary of State John Kerry has been subpoenaed by House Oversight. Why?
Well, Greta, if you go back and read some of the old quotes, and I know administration officials hate it when we go back and read what they said a year ago, but a year ago he said, with respect to Benghazi, if you're having any trouble getting information, let me know. Well, Mr. Secretary, we're going to let you know. We're not getting the information. This Ben Rhodes email we should have gotten.
Is it bureaucracy or hiding it?
Well, I have evidence that not only are they hiding it, there's an intent to hide it. I can't disclose that evidence yet, but I have evidence that there was a systematic, intentional decision to withhold certain documents from Congress, and we're just sick of it. So we're going to get him to come explain why we're getting documents 20 months late.
All right, are you going to be on this select committee?
The Speaker's going to make that decision, Greta, but here's what I can tell you. I have a picture. I would, if he thinks that I'm one of the best questioners in Congress, what I told him today is you need to put the best questioners, the best investigators in Congress on that select committee. I think Chaffetz is great. I think Jimmy Jordan is great. The Speaker can decide whether he thinks an old washed-up prosecutor from South Carolina is good or not. But I'm going to help the committee regardless of what position, if any, I have. I will volunteer to be a summer intern because I want the family members of those 4 victims, each of whom I promised, I will get you the truth. I want to be able to keep that promise.
All right, Congressman, I want to play a soundbite for you. Now, this is President Obama today answering a question about the crisis in Ukraine. And listen carefully, sir.
The notion that this is some spontaneous uprising in eastern Ukraine is belied by all the evidence of well-organized, trained, armed militias with the capacity to shoot down helicopters. Generally, local protesters don't possess that capacity of surface-to-air missiles or whatever weapons were used to shoot down helicopters.
You think he wants a do-over on that or not?
You know what, Greta, if you did not know better, you would think that he was a Republican member of the House describing what happened in Benghazi. The only thing he left out is the protesters were using defensive moves, military moves that have to be trained. I am stunned that he said that about the Ukraine when the evidence is just as good, if not better, with respect to the attack in Benghazi. I'm sure he would like to rephrase that answer to the question.
I think his staff gasped when they heard him say that because, I mean, look, it is the description of Benghazi that so many people have said that, you know, that the firepower on the ground in Benghazi, you know, was significant firepower, that it wasn't just a bunch of firecrackers or something.
I think his staff has been gasping a lot lately when you have someone who's supposed to be a professional communications person, sounding like Jeff Spicoli from Fast Times at Ridgemont High, talking to Brett Baer the other night using the word dude. And when you have Jay Carney trying to say that a memo was not Benghazi when you produced it in response to a subpoena about Benghazi, they've been gasping a lot this week.
Congressman, thank you, sir. And if you hear any news about the Select Committee, do let us know.
Yes, ma'am, but you do the same. If you hear something, you let me know, okay?
I will indeed. And now to
Yes,
Brett
ma'am.
Baer's stunning interview, the one the Congressman just mentioned. It was from last night's special report. To say former White House spokesman Tommy Vietor downplayed the Benghazi talking points controversy is a giant understatement.
Did you also change attacks to demonstrations in the talking points?
Maybe. I don't really remember.
You don't remember?
Dude, this was like 2 years ago. We're still talking about the most mundane
it is the thing
process.
that everybody is talking about.
So think about this one. In 2004, 22-year-old Tommy Vietor was driving an Obama campaign bus for the press. In 2012, as our Libyan consulate was